Yo, what's good, y'all? So today we finna hop right into it. If you know who I am, then you already tapped in. If not, then my name is Caleb Jarrell. And today I got my client, and he just doing like a low mid taper type deal on his sides, and then we doing a taper in the back. So as y'all can see right here, I'm starting off my first guideline. So I'm starting my first guideline like around his ear, kind of a little bit above it, so I can get it to have a burst effect towards it. And this is my client first time having braids in his hair. He normally rock like a fro, and we pretty much just do the same fade and everything. So as y'all can see, I'm doing it on both sides, and I like to go ahead and do both sides so I can make sure everything look pretty symmetrical and even on both sides. So boom, right here, I'm finna knock down the hair on his front taper and his sides, and I'm really doing this with a one guard, but if you don't really know too much about the length that you really want to go to, you can start with a bigger guard and just gradually go down and get it to the type length that you want it to be at. And I'm pretty much just cutting down and combing to make sure I get everything pretty even and around the hairline like I need it to be. So like I said, I'm doing it on the sides also, and I'm gonna just let y'all watch me do that right quick. And if you don't have any, I would recommend you getting some clips or something to hold your client's hair up, because I know a lot of people are rocking the dreads or the twist right now, or the two strands or whatever, and it just make your job a lot easier. And you always want to use your tools that'll make your job a lot easier and allow you to be more efficient and everything while you cutting. And the angle gonna get closer later in the video, but this is how I look right now in the beginning. So what I first start off doing is pretty much just having my clipper open. I'm using my walls, and I got it all the way open, and I'm going up. Pretty much I like to, I can kind of eye mine out now, but like when I first started out cutting, I would pretty much like use like my finger and put it in place of where I want my guidelines to pretty much end or meet at, and just kind of use those to make my guidelines. And like I said, you gotta do what you gotta do when you first start off, and you pretty much in school and different things like that. You just pretty much trying to learn and get familiar with everything. But that's what I started off doing. Then I got my clippers closed, and I'm pretty much lever playing between my first guideline so I can get that to be as blurry as possible. And by blurry, I mean like you can't really see the line, and it fades pretty much into that second guideline that I pretty much made. So like I said, I'm trying to pretty much get it blurry, so that's why I went back to my liners, and I'm taking out that first guideline completely, or to the best of my ability right now. At the end of the cut, I'll always go back and detail pretty much what I feel like I need to do. So right here, I got my 1.5 guard, and I pretty much start out with it open if I'm not mistaken, and then I close it up, and I do that to get all the excess hair that he said he wanted cut. Like I said, he had a fro, or he would rock a fro, so with him doing the braids, he'll have a little bit of hangover hair at the top, and he wanted that pretty much cut down to the best that he could. So that's what we did, and now I got my one guard on and it's closed, and I went up pretty much the same amount. And then after I pretty much just got that half guard line left, I like to go back and go in with my masters and just detail and flick out at that line to detail it and make that blurry also. Like I said, I always go back and detail with whether it's a different clipper or just go back to the same guard if I need to, just to touch up some stuff that I feel like can be hit a little bit more. So right here, I'm about to get all that extra hair that he wanted cut down, and I got my one guard on right now, but I'm pretty sure I dropped down to my half guard later on. And like I said, I'm just getting that down and laid like around the ears and around the front taper when you got dreads, twist, whatever it is, and even sometimes like froze or whatever. You want that to be laid as much as possible so it makes your line up easier around those areas and you don't really have to be playing with it too much. And for a lot of y'all that might be new, this is my first tutorial video, so I'm just testing stuff out to see how it is. If y'all rock with it, then like, comment, or whatever, and let me know how y'all feel about it. But I just graduated school in September of 2022, and I'm doing pretty good in the shop right now. I got over 230 on my clientele list or whatever. And for some people that may not be a lot, for some people that is, but for me it's a blessing because of where I came from. Like, I was originally just working at Domino's and different things, delivering. So for me to be able to charge $35, $40 for a haircut or whatever and be pretty booked throughout the week and all that, then that's most definitely a blessing for me. And I'm never gonna not talk about what God has done for me and try to inspire other people. So that's what we got going. Like I said, I'm still around the ear, just cutting down. I'm pretty sure I dropped to my half guard, and then we finna get to the back taper. So back here, just cleaning everything up, combing everything up. Then I like to start my guideline like around my ears. And I'm saying my ears like it's my ears, but my client ears, and then like a little bit under it. And then I'm gonna open my clipper all the way, and we're gonna do the same steps that we did on the side. So normally I like to do my first guideline, which is the ball guideline. Then I go open all the way with no guard, and then I'll use a 1 guard, go up from that second guideline, and pretty much, like in this case, the highest guard that I would use is a 1.5, or sometimes maybe a 2 if it's necessary, and pretty much just go back down. So I'm gonna drop back down from the 1.5 all the way open, and come back and take out the guidelines that I put in. So I would pretty much just take it out with my half guard, and then detail the very top with my 1.5, and use the 1 guard like I'm using right now to cut down all the excess hair and different things like that, so it'll fade in and lay down pretty decent. And once you like get used to really just the momentum of cutting hair, like it's not as difficult as it seems. The most difficult part is just going from different textures and learning the different growth patterns of different hair. But as far as like the guards and everything, it's really just learning math and knowing math. Like, it's simple math. So for example, right here I got my 1 guard on, and if you know, like without the guard, if the clipper is all the way open or the lever is all the way open, then that's a half, and if it's all the way closed, then that's a 0, right? So if I put on a 1 guard and I have the clipper all the way open, then what's 1 plus a half? That's 1.5, right? So that 1.5 is gonna fade into something. What's it gonna fade into? It can either fade into the 1.5 guard, or you can fade it into a 2. And the 1.5 guard is just a little bit longer than the 1 guard and the clipper all the way open. So right now I have my 1.5 on, and it's all the way closed. And like I said, I'm just detailing and pretty much cleaning up all the extra hair. So there's one key that I wanted to point out. If you go back a little to when I had the 1.5 guard on, you'll see that I pointed on the comb towards my guard, and then I pointed towards the clipper. So one mistake that I made when I first was cutting was I would always look at my guard when I had a bigger guard on instead of the clipper. So that means I would be not going up enough, and that's why the hair wouldn't be fading like I needed it to. So I know starting out, like, you'll be pretty scared, or if you're still learning, you'll be scared to go up enough. And that's one thing I wanted to point out that helped me, was recognizing that that was a mistake that I was making, being too scared to attack the line. So when you got a bigger guard on, make sure you're looking at the actual clipper instead of the guard, because you got a little bit more room to work with. And the reason I'm pretty much talking right now is pretty much because y'all can see that I'm doing the same thing on each side, just attacking everything the same. I'm just debulking right here, getting a lot of the excess hair from the little connection part with his parts and everything. So that's why I say, like, it's real simple. Like, it's real math, or it's just simple math. That's all it come down to. I'm not saying that every haircut is gonna be easy. It is gonna be difficult haircuts and different things like that, but the more reps that you put in, the easier it'll get, and the more familiar you'll get with it. So that's like you going to the gym and you shooting up shots every day. Like, once you put them shots in, it starts to become like a rhythm, and you'll start to get used to the flow, and you'll start to recognize over the course of time, with you putting in the reps and just being consistent, you'll see your growth and your skill. I promise I didn't ever start out as good as I am now, and I'm not saying that I'm the best barber ever, but for me to be able to make a career at 20, and I'm doing pretty good, like as far as having my life together and different things like that, I pretty much know that I got value to where I can help other people, and that's my only motive, is to inspire other people to find a way like I did and follow your passion or whatever it is that you want to do in life and just go attack that, you feel me? Especially being at a young age, like it's so many people around us that's not even on the same type of time. But we on the other side right here, cutting it down with the half guard and everything. You'll start to see that lay down like I needed to. And like I said, on the sides and the front table, you just need to lay it down as much as possible. So right here, I got my spritz. And I use the spritz pretty much just to help the hair lay down and stay in place. That way it's not curling back up or anything while we're doing the lineup. And like I said, you want to utilize everything that you can that'll make your job easier. So I also sprayed some alcohol and sprayed that on my neck strip. That way I could just wipe around and pretty much clean up the areas that I'm finna be lining up. It's pretty much the same. Like if you ever went and got a tat, man, to me, getting a tattoo feel like getting a line up on my body. So you feel me? You want to prep it, you want to clean it, different things like that. So I went back to another guard, if I'm not mistaken. It might just be my one guard again, possibly my half guard. Like I said, you can gradually drop down and see where you need to cut it down at. So I'm not going to be showing the whole lineup process, but I did want to kind of give a tip on doing the C-cup and what you want to do or what I do. I'm always speak from my advice or what it is that I do. So I'm using the corner of my clipper and I'm starting around his temple, and then I'm gonna allow that to meet on the little end of the curve, if you feel what I'm saying. So that way it's like you got two starting points and then all you're doing is meeting them, and it'll allow you to get that C like you need it. And pretty much you just gotta detail it because the hair is gonna grow in certain ways. Sometimes you might go one way and then have to go back the other way. And that just really depends on how the hair grows, how long it is, and different things like that. And also how like sharp and detailed your clippers are. So you always want to make sure your tools is on point. And sometimes like if you got a lighter client, you don't want to do it too much because they can mark up or get red and different things like that. And as long as to me it's not showing or anything too bad to where it looks like it's just discomfort or they say anything, then I feel like you should be straight as far as detailing as much as possible, and they'll appreciate it too. And as y'all can see, I'm pretty much just taking my time. I don't never like to rush through haircuts, and my slots are 50 minutes, so therefore like I want all the time that I can to do the best for my client. So right here, I'm pretty much just finna line up the back, and all you really want to do right here is just keep it as wide as possible, but as natural as possible. And I'm not saying you gotta have it like dumb wide, but at the same time, like you don't want to take it in because the new growth is not gonna look good and it's gonna grow back dumb quick. So like just keep it natural, make it as sharp as you can. Make sure you're not using some clippers that's like dumb sharp. And like I said, when you got a lighter client, they for sure gonna mark up or turn red or whatever, but that don't necessarily mean that it's irritating. That's just that's just them being lighter in their skin, you feel me? My client did want enhancements, and he wanted the pencil and also the enhancement spray. So I never just go in with the enhancements unless my clients like recommend it. And I also have that listed on my booking app. So it's like they can request what it is that they want done to their haircut to the T. So I don't want to hear none of that, oh, he got enhancements and different things like that. It's like, it's not needed, but it's whatever my client want. And at the end of the day, I'm the one getting paid for it. So if y'all just tripping over it, then it is what it is. But you feel me? I like to go back in. I like to lean them back in a chair, make them feel comfortable. Just tap them with my razor. That way the white chalk or the white line, whatever you want to call it, don't look so bulky. I don't really like the bulky look. But if I can make it look pretty natural and make it look to where it blend in with the haircut, then that's what we gonna do. And right here, of course, he don't want a mustache, so we cutting that off right quick. Just gonna clean up the facial hair that he got and make everything as neat as possible and to his liking. Like I said, this is my first video, so I hope y'all tapped in. I hope y'all learned something from it. But this is probably about around my 3rd year cutting, and this is my 1st year actually cutting professionally. And I'm not a year in yet, you feel me? So I'm still learning different things. I'm still new to the game, but at the same time, it's like I want to provide value to the people that I can. And as much as I can, I just want to help other people. So if y'all got something out of it, then like, comment, or whatever. Let me know how y'all feel about it. I most definitely appreciate y'all tapping in if you did, though. And that's pretty much how the cut came out.